आनंद अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम हरे राम, राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita discussion on Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Saratavarshini and the sub commentary by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is called as the Rasika Ranjan commentary. So, yesterday we saw especially this verse, Vyavasayatmika Buddhi, that is the Buddhi which is applied to understand Bhakti Yoga. Whereas the bhukti which is applied for nishkama karma, you have to give up the fruit. In gyan, you have to focus on intelligence is fixed on gyan and bhakti as well. And when you attain perfection of gyan, the intelligence fixed in giving up gyan, because only by giving up gyan, then one can attain liberation. So it's bahushakahi anantasha, because of many desires. And then Krishna, we saw how he contrasts between karma kanda and now bhakti yoga or nishkam karma yoga. Previously, he had, you know, in one sense, motivated Arjuna to fight because hato va prapsasi swargam, you will attain swarga. But now he contrasts, and how nishkam karma yoga or bhakti yoga is superior to Karma Kanda. So these two verses we discussed quite in detail yesterday. And then uh, one who is Bhoga Ishvara Prasaktanam, he cannot have Vyavasatmika Buddhi. Samadho na vidiyate. And then this 45th verse is a very important verse. We saw Traigunya Vishaya Veda. You know, the Vedas deal with the three modes, but especially the Karma Kanda. Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna. Nistraigunyo Bhavarjuna, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur directly takes it as glorification of what? Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. And Traigunya Vishayoda is the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. And Nirdvanda, become free from the dealers. Nitya Sattvasto means the pure devotees, and yoga and shema, Atmavan, your yoga, whatever you desire, you be devoid of the desire to gain or preserve. Because your, Krishna will take care of it, Atmavan, because your intelligence is given by me, Krishna will give that intelligence. So we saw this, and Vishwanath Chakra Thakur glorifies Bhakti Yoga and how the Vedas speak of, the three modes, subject of the three modes, but they also speak about Nirguna, which is Bhakti. So then he quotes the Uddhav Gita verses. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a very interesting explanation. He says Nirdishta and Uddishta. Nirdishta is the highest objective or the highest goal of the Vedas, that is to reveal the absolute truth. And the Uddishta is, that which points out to, you know, I hope I'm using the correct terms. Let me see. Or is it the other way? No, Uddishta and Nirdishta. Uddishta is the highest goal, and Nirdishta is the that instructions which indicate towards the Uddishta is, and the Arudhati star example was given. And because it is very dim, something which bigger star is, you know, we locate that and to in order to point out to Arundhati. So similarly, the subject matter of the Vedas seems like in the beginning the three modes, but if you delve deeper, actually it is meant to reveal the absolute truth, which is beyond the three modes. So yesterday we completed. Now Krishna, for this 2.45, he gives an example to make it clear. This is a very nice verse also. यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः संप्लुदोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानता. All the purposes of all wells, yavan artha udapani. Udapani means the wells are fulfilled by a large water body. Sarvata samplud udaka. Sampluta means, the vast body or a lake. Udaka means the water. Sarvata sampludodake. So all the results of all types of worship mentioned in the Vedas, Tavan Sarveshu Vedeshu, are fulfilled just by knowing and worshipping one supreme God. Brahmanasya Vijanata. Brahmana here refers to the Vedas and one who Vishesh Rupena Janata. You know, Vijanata means Vishesha Rupena Janata iti Vijanata. One who specifically understands the real meaning of the Vedas. He understands Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atma Bhakto. He understands that. Okay, let's see Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on this. The glory of Bhakti Yoga being Nishkam and Nirgun. First of all, Bhakti Yoga means Nishkam. Nishkam means Anya Bilashita Shunyam. And Nirgun means it is transcendental to the three modes. Nirgun Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti is such that it goes out without saying that it is without loss or sin, even if started and discontinued. This is the glory. And this was established in 2.40 also. That even a little performance of bhakti makes one successful is stated by Uddhava in the 11th canto. Even a little performance. You perform bhakti 5%, you get 100% result. Actually, uh, the glory of the path of bhakti yoga is that once you begin, you will be forcibly dragged to success. Because once you have tasted the bhakti rasa, then you will be haunted by that rasa. You will be haunted by that rasa. And even if you want to give up, you will not be able to give up. Just like once a person is haunted by a ghost, it's very difficult for him to get rid of the ghost. So you'll be haunted by the bhakti rasa, and that's why, uh, little performance will ultimately lead to ultimate success. So he quotes the Uddhava Gita. My dear Uddhava, Anga Uddhava, because I have personally established it, Maya Samyak Vyavastita, this process of devotional service unto me, Mad Dharmasya, is transcendental and free from any material motivation. Nirgunatvad Anashisha. Certainly, a devotee never suffers. Nahi anu api dhvamsa, even the slightest loss by adopting this process. Upakrame. Nahi ango upakrame dhvamsa mad dharmasya uddhavo anapi. Maya vyavasthita samyan nirgunatvad anashisha. So this is a very famous verse from the Uddhav Gita, which, you know, substantiates that even if you know, because it is transcendental, directly established, one never suffers any loss by slightly adopting this process. However, even bhakti with material desires, now this is very interesting. Sakama bhakti is known by the term Vyavasayatmaka buddhi, since there is worship of only one person. This is shown through an example. So now what to speak of Nishkam Bhakti, even Sakam Bhakti, that means a devotee who has not yet taken up to Nirguna Bhakti, but he has taken up to the practice of Bhakti and is worshipping the one absolute truth, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. Even that is glorious because even if he has many, many desires, he will not go to the demigods, he will go to Krishna only. Akama sarvakamo va moksha kama udharadi tivrena bhakti yogena yajanti purusha param. So even if you have many desires, but you just stick to worship of Krishna, and Krishna can fulfill all the material desires. And it is up to Krishna. The singular case is used to indicate the whole class of wells. Whatever purposes the wells serve is the meaning of Yavan Artha Udapani. So what all purposes the well serves? Some wells are used for cleaning the body after passing nature. Some other is used for brushing teeth. Others are used for washing clothes. So this was the Vedic tradition for your kind information. Now nowadays nobody, takes bath in the well. That culture is not there. In the villages, there were specific wells for, even for the deities. There were the Specific wells, the water was got for Abhishek, for washing clothes, it was separate. Others were used for washing hair, others are used for bathing, others are used for drinking water. Yeah, drinking water specifically was different. All the purposes of all the different wells are served by a large body of water like a lake. Because the lake water is more clean, pure, and flowing, all these things can be done in one place. You need not go to different places for all these different activities. In that one lake, one can perform all the activities such as cleaning the body and brushing the teeth. Whereas by using different wells for different purposes, one becomes tired of wandering around. That is not the case in using the lake. The outstanding quality of the lake water, however, is its sweet taste, whereas that of the well is not tasty. So this is another quality. Krishna is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. Thus, whatever purposes are served by worshipping all the devtas mentioned in all the Vedas are achieved through the worship of one Supreme Lord by the person in knowledge, one who knows the Vedas. Brahmanasya. Brahma is Vedas. Brahmanasya means one who knows the Vedas. He knows the Veda. Brahma is called a Brahmana. So here the definition of Brahma Janati, Brahma here is the Vedas. One may know the Vedas, but one who knows the import of the Vedas, that is Bhakti, is the special knower, Visheshata Janata, Vijanata. It is said in the second canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Vachas Kamastu Yajeta Brahmana Patim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapati. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahman Jyoti, Brahma Vachas Kama, should worship the master of the Vedas, Yajate Brahmana Pati. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king Indra, Indram, Indra Kamastu. And one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis, Praja Kama Prajapatim. But then it is said, Akama Sarva Kamo Va, Moksha Kama Udaradhi, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, Yajanti Purusham Param. A person who has a broader intelligence, Udaradhi. So here the term Udaradhi is very important, very broad intelligence. Whether he be full of all material desires, without any material desires, Akama Sarva Kama Va, or desiring liberation, moksha kama, must by all means worship Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate, the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead, Purusham Param. Just as sunshine unmixed with clouds or other obstructions is intense, Bhakti Yoga unmixed with Gyan or Karma or other pollutants is intense. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. So he gives the meaning of Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. One attains fulfillments of many desires by worshipping many devtas. This requires many types of mental concentration, but one can attain all those desires from the one Supreme Lord from just one portion of one's concentration on the one Lord. So this is another advantage. The different devtas, you have to, do their different types of yagyas, different types of concentration. You have to concentrate on all these forms. But all these desires can be fulfilled by that one Lord and not complete concentration, one portion of that. By just one portion of one's concentration on that one Lord, the Lord can fulfill it. One should understand that this concentration on one personality and attaining many goals arising from the excellent qualities possessed by the object of concentration, the Lord. Because the Lord, ultimately, the Devtas are the manifestation of the Lord, and all the qualities are there in the Lord in full. So because Lord has these extraordinary qualities and we naturally belong to Him, don't belong to the Devtas, so there is natural attraction. So like that, so it is easy in one sense. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur just adds a little bit to his commentary. Small reservoirs of water, such as wells, are called Udapani, and very big reservoirs of water are called Sampluta Udaka. Sampluta Udaka. The various necessities are served by many small wells. Example, one can wash clothes in one well, bath in another well, etc. Can easily be served by large reservoirs such as lake. Throughout the Vedas, the various demigods analogous to small wells. So the various demigods are compared to the small wells. are described in addition to what can be achieved by worshipping each of them. You know, just like each well fulfills bathing, washing clothes. So similarly, going to the well means going to these demigods. However, upon considering all the Vedic statements, learned Brahmanas have ascertained that I, Sri Krishna alone, am Bhagavan, analogous to the large lake, and by worshipping me alone, one attains all results. So all results can be attained by worshipping Bhagavan. He who possesses such a resolute intelligence naturally performs the worship of Bhagavan, me alone. So that's why even if we have material desires, we should still stick to the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even if we are Sakam Bhaktas. Nishkama, is a very exalted state. To come to that, it takes quite a long time. So even it is Sakama, we should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna will take care of it. Whatever is required, Yoga Kshema, he will take care of it. Okay. So now, from here onwards, it's a very interesting section which is going to begin. You can say this is a subsection from 2 point. Okay, let me use a different color. Yeah. So from why did it not take? I don't know. 2.47 to 2.53. So Krishna has in Bhagavad Gita 2.39 was a critical verse. So 2.40 to 45, he has established Buddhi Yoga as Bhakti Yoga, pure devotional service. Huh? And of course, in that 42 and 44, he contrasts between Karma Kanda and Bhakti Yoga in one sense. Vishnu Chakatakur, according to him. In fact, you can say even Nishkam Karma Yoga also, because it's applicable to both. So he condemns Karma Kanda. He contrasts that. Now, from 2.47 to 53, he is going to explain Nishkama Karma Yoga, which is another meaning of Buddhi Yoga also. Buddhi Yoga can also mean Nishkam Karma Yoga. I hope you know that. So this is a very famous verse and the most misunderstood verse in India. Sometimes, they quote only half part of the verse. Not even half, they quote only one fourth. Ardha Kukutanaya nahi, it is one fourth Kukutanaya. They only say Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. Ma Phaleshu Kadachan also they don't say that. So this is a very famous verse. So let's go through this. Karmanyeva Adhikaraste. Ma Phaleshu Kadachana. Ma Karma Phala Hetu Bho. Bhate Sangostya Karmani. You have the qualification for prescribed work. Karmanya eva adhikaraste. You have qualification for prescribed work, but not the results of the work. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Do not be the cause of the results of the work. Ma karma phala hetu bhu. Do not be attached to not doing work or doing sinful work. Ma te sangosti akarmani. Now, again, this is a very, very critical and important verse, and I'll have to again, before I discuss Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary, I would like to bring out, yeah, a very important principle here to understand. And kindly hear this carefully and try to understand this. Now, Nishkama Karma Yoga is when the buddhi, the intelligence, which is a subtle faculty, is used to realize the self, And when I say Nishkama Karma Yoga, it is Karma Yoga. And when Karma Yoga, we say it is Varnashram. And Varnashram means Swabhava. According to your Swabhava, Kshatriya Dharma, Brahmana Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, which is the injunctions given in the Vedas. Now, because there is no desire for the foods, because that's what this verse is saying. Ma karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Now, the soul is entangled in the gross and subtle bodies. And the more one desires the fruits, the more the bondage of the soul with the gross and subtle body will increase. But when one detaches from the fruit, then uh, slowly, what will happen? He will become, uh, these are the desires in the subtle body. This is the gross body. The desires in the subtle body, because he's not desiring the fruits, because he's not desiring the fruits, he will get purified. And the subtle body is completely purified, and the soul can become self-realized. So this is what is Nishkam Karma Yoga. Ultimately, Nishkam Karma Yoga is performed by which the purification of the chitta happens. The chit is the subtle body. And when the subtle body gets completely purified, then in one sense, one is self-realized. And this is the process of, Nishkama Karma Yoga. So when karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu katachana ma karma phala heturbhur. So here karma refers to the sabhava directed by the Vedas for fruitive results. This is here karma kanda, but here it will become nishkama karma yoga. So nishkama karma yoga is the detached action. And by this, what happens, as I mentioned, if one desires the fruits, then the bondage of the soul with the gross and the subtle body becomes tighter. And when one doesn't desire, he becomes liberated. He becomes free from it. So there are two things which Krishna is saying. One is, the fruits. Don't desire the fruits. When you do action with desire, then you are attached to the fruits. And then your consciousness is caught, when what will happen, what will be the result. So you're caught in the future. But actually, you should just do your duty and become detached. That means you can focus on the present. The second is ma karma phala heturbur. Don't think you are the doer. And this is, ahankar. Ahankar vimudata karta amiti mane. I achieved this result. I collected so much funds, or I did so much book distribution. So this doership mentality also binds the soul to this material world. It binds. So that's why, ma karma phala heturbur, he's saying, Krishna is saying, So there are these two things, just like, in the Wimbledon match, uh, when the tennis player hits the last and wins, he will lift the cup saying that I won, and he's elated. Or when he loses the match, he'll take his hand and keep on his head and he'll lie down, he'll sit down, as Arjuna sat in the first chapter. So he becomes depressed. So these are these different states of mind, and these different states of mind create different emotions, and these material emotions bind the soul in sukha, dukkha, mana, apamana. So like that. So that is why be equipoised, Arjuna, and that's why perform your duty for the sake of duty without desiring the fruits. So that's what Krishna is trying to instruct here, Arjuna. Okay. So now, interestingly, this commentary, Vishnu Thakur says, the Lord just wanted to speak about the process of jnana, bhakti, and karma yoga to Arjuna, who was his dear friend. The Lord wanted to speak what? Jnana, bhakti, and karma yoga. Having spoken of jnana and bhakti yoga, the Lord then considered that these two were not suitable for Arjuna. So at this point, please remember, At this point of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna has taken a role. Arjuna is an eternal personality from the spiritual world. Whenever the Lord descends, Arjuna descends. They are both eternal personalities from the spiritual world. But Arjuna is playing the role of a Kshatriya here in this material world. So, it's not that Arjuna is not qualified for Bhakti Yoga. He's a pure devotee, eternally. But as a role of a Kshatriya, he is qualified for Varnashram Dharma, that is Kshatriya Dharma. So, having spoken of Gyan and Bhakti Yoga, the Lord then considered that these two are not suitable for Arjuna. So, now please raise your hands. Tell me which verses Krishna spoke about Gyan in the Bhagavad Gita up till now. We are in the second chapter only. Which all verses Krishna spoke about Gyan? Let us see how many of you are being attentively hearing. Which verses Krishna spoke about Gyan? Only one hand has been raised. No, we have been repeatedly discussing this, and this is the third time I'm asking the same question, in fact. Anyway, Sumit Kapoor Prabhu, yes.
Yeah. Prabhuji, verse 12 to 30.
Very good, very interesting. And where has Krishna spoken about bhakti?
Bhakti is 20, 40 and 41.
40 to 45, in fact.
40 to 45, yes.
There is a
What?
contrast also there, but
uh,
directly from 40 onwards, he took 2.39 Buddhi Yoga to mean Bhakti Yoga in
hmm,
2.40. That is the meaning he took. Now he is going to take Buddhi Yoga as Nishkam Karma Yoga here onwards.
47.
Thus he now speaks of Nishkama Karma Yoga. You are qualified for works. You are qualified for karma. But those who crave the results are very impure in consciousness. But you have an almost pure heart, Krishna is saying. I can say this about you since I know you. There is a very intimate exchange happening, between Arjuna and Krishna. Because we know that, Arjuna is playing a role of a Kshatriya. But Arjuna asks a question, but in doing actions, a result must come. So the result is going to come. When you do an action, the result is going to come. But how do you react when the results come? That is very important. But by doing an action with the desire for the certain result, a person becomes the cause of that result. So if you had the desire that let me attain victory, like Dhritarashtra is thinking, in the first chapter, let the war happen. But still is asking, what happened? They have assembled to fight. Because internally he was desirous that because it is Dharma Shastra, there should not be compromise. Because Bhishma is on our side, we will attain victories. So he had desire, and that's why he was in anxiety. So when we do actions and when the result come, we have to look into our consciousness, how much our consciousness is affected. So please, as devotees, when you are given some service and you do that service, mostly it is actions. And what is your consciousness when the results come, whether it is book distribution or whether it is giving a class, what happens in your consciousness, you can detect it, you know. And if you even little had the desire, one of my devotee friend was telling that once he was told to give a class, he just absorbed himself in preparing and he relished preparing. And then he gave a class. And the devotees really relished it and they came and glorified him. Oh, what a wonderful class it was. So, next time when his turn was there for a class, so he started preparing. Oh, let me give these points, let me speak this point so that devotees can appreciate me. And then after the class was over, by Krishna's arrangement, nobody came and glorified him. So then he was wondering why nobody came. So when you desire the results, then you get entangled. The first time he spoke just for the pleasure of Krishna. So the class also we should give for at least uh, Anya Abhilashita Shunyam level is very high. at least to purify our consciousness, that should be our motivation. But you should not act in that manner, sorry. You should not desire the results. I give you that blessing and do not become attracted to non-performance of your duty or in doing sin, akarmani. Rather, you should hate doing that. So, akarmani or a karma can have two meanings. We have not come here, but akarma means not performing your actions which you are entitled for. Arjuna, if he doesn't perform his actions of a Kshatriya, then it. And akarma means action which, you know, does not yield reaction. This is Bhakti Yoga. You know, again, it is pure Bhakti Yoga for your kind information. So, akarma, Bhakti Yoga is also called as akarma because although you're doing action, that action has no reaction. You know, so you're not bound, like that. So, no, or in Mate Sangostve Akarmani. Arjuna might think, Are, this war, you know, it is a ghastly war, and I am a Kshatriya, you know, and I should do this war. I should participate in this war, but let me participate by with a desire to win the battle. But Krishna has put here a checkmate. He said, Ma phaleshu kadachan. Are, if, you know, if I don't, work with the desire to attain the results, you know, where is the motivation of work? There is no motivation in the outside world. People work because they have desire for the fruits, right? That's what pushes them. But they think, that is actually, that's how one should work. But actually, by detached work, one can be very focused in his work. Because when he is attached to the fruits, his consciousness is always absorbed. What will happen? He's in the role of the controller. And actually, taking the role of controller, he becomes more controlled because the fruits bind him. So there is a higher personality who gives the fruits. So acceptance of God is coming into picture here. That's why Nishkam Karma Yoga is when we offer the results to Krishna. So that's what slowly, gradually, Krishna will introduce that. So basically, one's consciousness, if it is caught in the results, then he cannot fixed in doing his duty uh, at this present moment, in a very equipoised or a balanced manner, because he's always, his consciousness is what is going to happen in the future, like that it will be. So, ma te sangostve akarmani, ma karma phala heturbur, if I am not the, tomorrow I am not glorified for this work, then where is the motivation? So there is a higher level of motivation, that is the elevation of the consciousness. There is gyan, So this Nishkama Karma Yoga has two elements of gyan here. Please remember now again, this is very important. Within Nishkama Karma Yoga, okay, within Nishkama Karma Yoga, the gyan is what? The gyan is not to desire the results. And then doership. So you're acting in knowledge. So as one performs Nishkama Karma Yoga, slowly, because he has this nature for doing work, slowly what will happen? The sattva will increase. The jnana will keep on increasing in the heart. And when you perform in such a detached way, then slowly you elevate your consciousness. And you will come to the point of a Jnana Nishtha, which is 2.53. I'll come to that slowly. So this is what, so bad it is. Sorry. No, let me write it properly. Otherwise, others who will later on watch it will not be able to make out what it is. So this Nishkama Karma Yoga has this, gyan in the form of not desiring the fruits and doership. With this knowledge you act, and gradually the jnana will keep on increasing. So where is the motivation to work? When you think you are not the doer, ma karma phala hetu bhur, so there is elevation of consciousness which is happening. So that's a point I wanted to make. I give you that blessings also. He gives the blessing that, you don't, by not doing your Kshatriya duty, you'll incur sin. Ma sangostya karman, why I should, work. When I don't desire the fruits, and there is no, I am not the cause of the work. So where is the motivation to work? The motivation is elevation consciousness, and you should not develop uh, a negative attitude towards, why I should work then. So don't be, ma sangostya, attached to not doing your work. So he gives the blessing that is. However, in the next chapter, Arjuna says, my intelligence is bewildered by these equivocal instructions. So this will come up. When this will come up, I will explain, how Arjuna is bewildered by these equivocal instructions. Vishwanath Chakra Thakur takes it as 2.47, whereas Baldev Vidyabhushan takes it as 2.49. Both have their different takes. The apparent lack of connection between the previous and the later statement should be understood to be intentional, having a purpose. So Krishna had a purpose. He did not want to bewilder Arjuna. There was unity and harmony in his instructions, but just to expand the subject, Arjuna put forth that I'm confused. You're saying this and you're saying this. Can you clarify? Just as I stand as your charioteer awaiting your order, you also await my order. You know, Krishna is following the orders of Arjuna. You know, now Krishna has taken the role of the spiritual master. So Krishna is saying, you await my orders. I will tell you at the right time. I will give you the knowledge. You just elevate yourself higher and higher, and I'll give you that higher knowledge. One should see that Krishna and Arjuna actually had real agreement of mind. This is because ultimately Arjuna is acting as a conditioned soul and putting forth these questions for our benefit. So but there is real agreement. That's what. Okay, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. For your kind information, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary is verbatim, stated by Prabhupada in his commentary. So Prabhupada takes actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary and explains the entire commentary. And we will see first Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary and then go through Prabhupada's commentary, because I want to show, how Prabhupada referred all the Acharya's commentaries and has just given us the essence, when we should really have that appreciation. There are three types of karma to consider: karma, akarma, and vikarma. So here karma means, prescribed duties according to Varnashram. Akarma means not doing your duties. Here, akarma is not bhakti here. Vikarma is sinful activities. Of these, vikarma, engaging in sinful activities, and akarma, non-performance of prescribed religious duties within the Varnashram system, are extremely inauspicious. You should not desire them. So there are three types of karma. For Arjuna, there's no question of non-performance, and there's no question of vikarma. Give up vikarma and akarma and carefully follow the path of karma. Now, he says, karma has three types. Nitya karma, daily duties, like Nitya Sandhya Vandana and, Nitya Homa and all. Occasional duties, like, sometimes there is Chaturmas, or, special, days where you do special duties. And then Kamya karma. Kamya karma is you have specific desires. Like Dashrath had a desire. He did a putreshti kam yagya in order to have a son. This is called as Kamya karma. Special activities done for fulfilling specific desires. Of these three, the last is the most inauspicious, kami karma. So you can do your nitya karma and naimiti karma and not kami karma. Because kami karma means then again it is not nishkam karma yoga. It will become karma kanda then. So kami karma is also inauspicious. Those who perform kami karma because those who perform kami karma become the cause of the fruit of their activities. So it is for your benefit that I am telling you to not adopt this methods of action because it will bind you in the cycle of birth and death. Karma kanda will bind you. You have the right to perform your prescribed duties, but you do not have the right to the fruits of any action. Ma karma phala hetur. It is acceptable for those who take shelter of yoga to perform nitya karma and naimitya karma solely in order to maintain their lives. So now let's see Prabhupada's commentary on this, and you'll all appreciate, how there are three considerations here: prescribed duties, capricious work, and inaction. So, can anyone tell what is capricious work and inaction here? Anyone? What is capricious work and inaction? Yes. Yeah. Okay, let's take Sumit Prabhu. He first raised the hand. Yes.
So, Prabhuji's capricious work is vikarma,
Capricious work is
capri
vikarma.
and inaction is akarma.
हाँ, capricious work is जो मन में आए, करने का, Prescribed duties are activities enjoined in terms of one acquired modes of material nature. So he's speaking about karma means based on sabhav.
Hmm.
Capricious work means actions without the sanction of authority. That means, vikarma. And inaction means not performing one proof. Exactly what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. The Lord advised Arjuna not to be inactive, but that he perform his prescribed karma, without being attached to the results. One who is attached to the result of his work is also the cause of action. Thus, he is the enjoyer or sufferer of the result of actions. Now, then Prabhupada says, as far as prescribed duties are concerned, they can be fitted into three subdivisions, namely routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Now, can you tell me what these three terms mean? Routine work, emergency work, and desired activities. Raise your hands. Govindat Prabhuji, are you there? Navneet Kalra Mataji, you had raised your hand.
Uh, Routine work is nitya karma,
Uh,
and emergency naimittic karma, desired is kamya karma.
uh, Routine work performed as an obligation in terms of the scriptural injunctions without desire for the results is action in the mode of goodness. Work with result becomes the cause of bondage, therefore, such work is not auspicious. So, he's speaking about desired act, kamya karma. Everyone has his proprietary right in regard to prescribed duties, but should act without attachment to results. Such disinterested obligatory duties doubtlessly lead one to the path of liberation. Arjuna is therefore advised by the Lord to fight as a matter of duty without attachment to the results. His non-participation in the battle is another side of attachment. Ma sangosti akarmani, no. Hate is another side of uh, attachment, Such attachment level leads to one to the path of salvation. Any attachment, positive or negative, is the cause of bondage. Inaction is sinful. Inaction is akarma. Therefore, fighting as a matter of duty was the only auspicious path of salvation to Arjuna. So Arjuna, in one sense, is checkmated here, in the chess there is checkmate, you are here and king is here and then elephant and opponent side, all sides, he doesn't have any other thing as to do his prescribed duty, that is to fight, So very, very beautiful commentary by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada is following Vishwanath Chakra Thakur here in his commentary. Okay, I'll take few more verses and then pause for questions and then you can take up us. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tektva dhananjaya siddhya siddhayo samo bhutva samatvam yoga bhuchyate. Being situated in this Nishkama Karma Yoga, Yogastha, perform your duties, Kuru Karmani, giving up attachment, Sangam Tektva, by being equal to success and failure. Siddha, Asiddha. Samo Bhutva. Samo means equanimity. O conqueror of wealth, Dhananjaya, such equal mindedness is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So, Krishna, in fact, gives, you can see three definitions or three levels of definitions of yoga. One is Nishkama Karma Yoga, which was defined in 2.47 to do, action without desiring the fruits and without being the cause. That is beginning of yoga. But when you advance in yoga and you attain a kind of equanimity, sama, this is a very elevated stage. You begin, your consciousness will, move up and down, with the results. But then slowly, the frequency will come down and then it will become, you'll become equipoised in both, whether there is defeat or victory or whatever it is. And then this is 2.48. In 2.53, he will say Tada Yogam Avapsati, Samado Achala Buddhi. That means you have attained, that means you have self-realized now. When the intelligence is completely, achala, it is not, chala means to, little also deflect, for sense gratification, and the intelligence is completely purified. So this is the third level of definition. So this is the first level, this is the second and the third. And to come to this point, even in our bhakti, so your yoga is Nishkam Karma Yoga, but even in Bhakti Yoga, if we are attached, we can see when success or failure comes, how our consciousness is affected. Or even for the dualities, for that matter, heat, cold, how much we get affected. When the class is going on, our consciousness should be fixed in hearing Harikatha, but, heat or, it's too cold, we get absorbed in the dualities, and we get affected. But we have to come to this samatvam. And this samatvam, as I was mentioning, has different levels in terms of, samatvam with respect to body, with, Sita and Ushna, then the mind, Sukha and Dukkha, then Buddhi, and then Ahankar, Man, Apman. So as you, transcend these dualities, then you have attained higher levels of yoga. So this is the middle definition of yoga here. Such equal-mindedness is called yoga. Samatvam yoga uchyate. So this is the definition of yoga. And being equal in success and failure, O conqueror of wealth. So Dhananjaya, Dhananjaya means conqueror of wealth. Of course, there is another meaning of Dhananjaya which will come in the next verse. That time I'll take it up. Okay, so let's see what Vishnu Thakur says. With this verse, Krishna starts teaching the method of Nishkam Karma. Acting in this way, seeing victory and defeat as equal, O Arjuna, you should perform your duty of fighting. So getting this equanimity, it's not an easy thing, even in the practice of bhakti. I'm just giving an example, and don't take it otherwise. Just to make the point clear, suppose there is some businessman who gets connected to ISKCON, and the devotee goes and invites him come for the Abhishek Janmashtami, and he gives a donation and he does the Abhishek, he gets attracted and he joins, he starts to the practice. And then being a businessman, that's his propensity. So he gives donation saying that, today I'm offering this donation for Prasad, sponsoring Prasad. But you should announce my name. So he wants that, he has that desire. But later on, once, if it is not announced, then he might get disturbed. So as he elevates his consciousness, his consciousness gets purified. Then he says, I'm giving this, but please don't announce my name. So that's a higher level. And a still higher level is when, he gives the donation, he himself purchases the ingredients, he goes in the kitchen, cooks, and then feeds the devotee. So that kind of, so there are these higher levels we should, within Bhakti Yoga, because within Bhakti Yoga also there is karma. We are speaking about Karma Yoga within Bhakti Yoga, like that. So we have to come to this equanimity. This performance of Nishkama Karma Yoga transforms into Jnana Yoga. I mentioned that, right? Jnana Yoga should be understood from previous and later portions of the work. So Jnana Yoga should be understood from the previous means here. Again, it is 2.12 to 2.30. And the later portions of the work here will definitely refer to fourth chapter and fifth chapter, especially fifth chapter. And then the Bhagavad Gita, which is entire Gyan Yoga, chapter 13 to 18. So it should be understood. Okay. So, how many of you have questions? Let us see. Based on that, whether I should take one or two more verses, I'm thinking. Raise your hands. How many of you have questions? Only one question? Nobody else has question, right? So, okay, Bir Krishnaji, I'll hold on. I'll just take this one more verse and finish and continue the discussion at the end. This is very important. Ture nahi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanam anaviccha kripana falahetava. O conqueror of wealth, Dhananjaya, actions with desire, avaram karma. So now he is contrasting with what? Karma Kand versus Nishkam Karma Yoga. Because in Karma Kand, you desire the results of your work. Sakama. Sakam Karma and Nishkam Karma, you can say once, are far inferior. Dhure nahi to Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. So now you can see Buddhi Yoga in 2.49 refers to Nishkam Karma Yoga. Surrender to this Buddhi Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga. Buddho Sharanam Anaviccha. Ultimately, Krishna will tell Sarva Dharman Parityaja Maam Ekam, surrender to me. You know. But now he's telling surrender to this Nishkam Karma Yoga. Those who seek results for their work are wretched and receive bondage. Kripana Falahetava. The misers, desire the results of their work because it ultimately binds them. Krishna here criticizes karma done with material desire, sakam karma. The actions done with material desire, avaram karma, are far inferior to nishkam karma offered to the Supreme Lord because this will ultimately lead to liberation. Take shelter of Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddho. In this verse, Buddhi Yoga refers to Nishkam Karma Yoga rather than Bhakti Yoga. Because 2.47 onwards, Krishna is, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is explaining Nishkam Karma Yoga. Okay. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. By Buddhi Yoga, another name of Nishkama Karma Yoga, cultivate devotion and reject Kama Karma, selfish, fruitive work. Those who desire the fruits of their action are misers. Take shelter of this Buddhi Yoga. Buddho Sharanam Anaviccha. Buddhi Yukta Jahatiha Ube Sukrita Dushkate Tasmad Yogaya Injasva Yoga Karma Sukaushalam. He who is engaged in Nishkam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yukta. Again, Buddhi Yukta here refers to Buddhi Yukta is a variant of yoga only. Here it again refers to Nishkam Karma Yoga. Destroys Jahati Iha. Both pious and impious reactions. Ube Sukrite Dushkrite. Therefore, engage in this yoga. Tasmad Yogaya Jinjasva. In all types of action, karmasu, this performance without attachment is a skill. Yoga Kaushalam. So just like by practicing Bhakti Yoga, you become free from the past pious and the past sinful activities. By practice of Nishkam Karma Yoga also, you become free from this Sukrute and Dushkute. Because ultimately, when you desire the fruits of your activities, then it creates an impression in the subtle body, the vasanas, and you become more entangled. You get bound. But acting in Gyan, that is, I should not desire the fruits and I should do as a duty, you purify the subtle body. And the Jnana element keeps on increasing, the Sattva keeps on increasing. And ultimately, you purify the Chitta, the subtle body, and you become free from all material desires. So that means the soul gets liberated. That means the by performance of that action, especially with equanimity, will not only purify, will not only lead to more impressions getting accumulated in the subtle body, but the past impressions of pious and sinful activities also completely, destroyed. And that is the art of yoga. He says, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Here, the word yogaya means for that yoga which possesses the characteristics mentioned above. That is 2.48. Yogastu kuru karmani sangam tektva. Yunjasva means make an endeavor. More specifically, it means being equipoised. Endeavor for Nishkama Karma Yoga, selflessly offering the fruit of one's work to Bhagwan. This is because Karmasu means among all fruitive Sakam and selfless Nishkama actions. Yoga refers to the performance of karma while being indifferent to the results. This indeed is Kaushalam, expertise. Note, skill here means that action is performed but does not occur reactions. So somebody was giving me an example, Kaushalam, and you know the kusha grass. The kusha grass. Anyone who has cut a kusha grass, he will know that there is an art to cut the kusha grass. If you hold the kusha grass and then cut, when you cut the kusha grass, your hand also gets cut because the kusha grass blades are very sharp. So there is an art by which you cut the kusha grass and you don't cut your hands. So similarly, action which will not lead any reaction. That is when you don't desire the fruits, and you're equipoised and you do it as a duty. So that is the art of doing work. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Okay. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Buddhi yoga is indeed the expertise of work. Therefore, in this very life, become endowed with this pure intelligence and relinquish both virtue and vice. Sukrute, dushkrute. So that's what he says. So I'll stop here exactly. We are at 2.51. So we will take the next few verses and start with the Sthita Pragya section, which is the last section. Maybe we'll require at least 2-3 classes to finish the second chapter. And it's very important. The second chapter will lay the foundation for all the coming chapters 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we'll see that in the future. Yes, Bir Krishnaji, you had a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Just two clarifications.
One after the
First two, when we say Triguniya Visya Veda Nishchaya Bhavardhana. So, Prabhu, this Veda basically, majority of the section, it deals with the three modes
yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
So how do we conclude that Veda is sarver ahame vedam. The conclusion of Veda is bhakti. When majority of the section is dealing with the three modes, on what
Yeah.
basis we say it is conclusion is bhakti?
Because we are conditioned by the three modes. We cannot see that the ultimate conclusion of Vedas is Nirguna Bhakti. And because we are entangled in the three modes, that's why, Krishna has given this Vedas where gradually from the modes you can elevate. There are Tamasic Purans, there are Rajasic Purans, there are Sattvic Purans, But all this is meant for accommodating these unlimited jivas who have unlimited desires. But the actual purpose of the Vedas is ultimately that you have to transcend the three modes and become, situated in the transcendental platform. So that is the real purpose and goal of the Vedas. So that is why we might initially, because we are attached to the modes, that's why Veda Vada Rata, we might think that this is the purport of the Vedas, Kamatma Swarga Paraha. Because you're calm Atma, you think this is the goal. Vedas are proclaiming Swarga is the highest, But those who are sitting in Swarga, whom you are worshipping, you know, uh, Om Tat Paramam Vishnu Sada Pashyanti Suraya, the Devatas, their eyes are fixed on the absolute truth, So that we don't, we don't look into that, because we have these desires. So these desires cover and camouflage, and that's why we cannot see. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned, the Uddishta and the Nirdeshta, The ultimate objective of the Vedas is to reveal the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is beyond the three modes. So when we are covered by the three modes, so that's why we cannot say we cannot see Tribir Gunir Mayir Bhave Ebbi Sarvamidam Chigat Mohitam Nabi Janati. Because we are bewildered by the three modes, we cannot understand. So there is a gradual elevation happening for each and every individual jiva, and to accommodate these unlimited jivas, that's why Krishna has given this. And ultimately, all are gradually going out towards that absolute truth. So ultimately, the purpose of the Vedas is actually to worship the one absolute truth. That's not that the Vedas are polytheistic. The Vedas are not polytheistic. The Vedas are monotheistic. To be more specific, the Vedas are bi-monotheistic. They recommend the worship of Radha and Krishna, like that, So we might come to a conclusion, there are so many Devata worships, the Vedas, are teaching polytheism. No. We have to understand ultimately the demigods are part and parcel of the body of the Lord, So like that. So Brahmanasya Vijanata. That's why we have to go to a Brahmana and, learn the meanings of the Vedas. Okay?
Right, Prabhu. Right. And
Yeah.
Prabhu, one more question, Prabhu. Prabhu, uh, when like for example, when we go for book distribution and all, and then in back of mind we set a target kiya by end of month we'll have at least this much book to be distributed, something like that. We
Yeah,
certainly
if
we
Krishna
create
wills, always you should have
uh,
that. If Krishna wills, kindly use
and
me as an instrument. But when you have that target and you are pushing it and you're pushing your teams, and when you're not getting the results, and then you become upset, and it's not helping you to advance in Krishna consciousness, right? You know,
Mhm.
your consciousness is caught in that, then rather than, ultimately, if Krishna wants, Krishna can,
Somewhere it
inspire
is
others.
doership mentality is there, that's
The
what.
doership mentality, we are caught up in that, and to
Mhm.
transcend that doership mentality is not easy, even for very, very, seasoned devotees, I would say, who are practicing for many years. It's not at all easy. Not at all easy, So to come to the point of even 2.48, Samatvam is a very, very advanced stage in Krishna consciousness. If you see
Mhm.
Yogastha, taking in the bhakti context, you know, ultimately, mostly if the practice is Pradhani Bhuta, it's Mishra Bhakti, because Shuddha Bhakti is again when one is Sarva Dharman Paritejya, you know, and as one has come to this point and he has understood that, Jata Shraddha Mat Katasu Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu, that he's completely disgusted to do any actions, for the body, and he's completely surrendered, that is a very elevated state also there. So even there also, as you go through the purification, to come to the yogas, the samatvam is a very, very, very exalted state, I would say. Okay.
Right, right. Thank you very much.
Navneet Kalramataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Danvat. Prabhuji, you said you'll explain the meaning why Arjun is addressed Dhananjaya.
That when it comes in the, yeah, it came here. Uh,
It came in twice it came.
Dhurena Ivarangama Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. Good, you reminded me. Here, so Dhananjaya is also wealth, but Dhananjaya also means now, you acquire the wealth of practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga, where you don't desire the fruits. Wealth of knowledge, can say. Now, what is that knowledge? That knowledge means not to desire the fruits. Not to desire the fruits. So this is the wealth of knowledge. That's how, one of the acharyas gives explanation of Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya is the conqueror of wealth, which came in Bhagavad Gita 2.15, 1.15 also. Panchajanyam Vishikesha Devadatta Dhananjaya. There. But then acquire the wealth by keeping, away from, being a miser of desiring the fruits of your work. Now acquire the wealth of knowledge. That's what it means. Okay, is it okay?
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji.
Shri Lalita Sumukhi Mataji. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just had this doubt that Nishkama Karma Yoga means like we are not desiring for the actions, but is this we do it for the pleasure
No.
of the Lord?
Okay. Hold on. Can you go a little slowly so that I can hear you carefully?
So Nishkama Karma Yoga,
Uh,
does that do it for the pleasure of the Lord or is also included in the definition? Not we are not expecting the results, but we are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. Also, is it there like that?
I think you're confused with two things. I'll just make this point very clear. This is the soul.
Hmm.
This is the subtle body. And this is the gross body.
Hmm.
Okay, now the swabhava is there in the subtle body.
Yeah.
Swabhava. Now, when one takes up to Nishkama Karma Yoga,
Hmm.
he is situated in the Varnashram.
Hmm.
Karma Yoga. Basically, it is Karma Yoga. Hmm. And uh, he identifies himself as what? That I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya, I am a Shudra, or whatever it is, based on his Swabhava. And his consciousness is that, I have to do my duty as a Brahmana or a Kshatriya or whatever it is, And because he does this duty without any desire of the results, slowly he moves towards self-realization. Because I told there is a purification of the chitta happening, the jnana element is increasing here, sattva is increasing. But we are now speaking of bhakti yoga, because we are all bhakti yoga practitioners. We have this knowledge that we are not the body, we are the spirit soul. Of course, we might not have that realization and that vision, but we have this theoretical addiction, and directly we are performing the angas of bhakti. The angas of bhakti, that is Shravan Kirtan. But if you're performing the angas of bhakti only and nothing else, that means 24 hours, you are only doing the constitutional activities of the soul. Bhagavad Gita 9.13 Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashrita bhajante ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyam satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrata namasyante tu mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasita. But we are not at this platform because we have a conditioned, nature. We have a conditioned nature. So we are using our conditioned nature based on our sabhav. Again, the sabhav is there. We are using the conditioned nature, and that also we are dovetailing in bhakti. Like somebody is a businessman, so he is raising funds for the temple. But if I tell him, come whole day and sit and study Bhagavatam with me, he might not have taste because he has taste according to his sabhav.
Yeah.
And he has little faith. And that faith is developing slowly, slowly. That faith has to keep on rising. And, he should, purify his subtle body by, performing his conditioned activities, telling Krishna and purifying this. And when this conditioned nature is fully purified and he has developed a deep faith of the vritti of the soul, and there is no attraction to do actions based on the subtle body, that means he is transcendental now. He is situated in the transcendental platform. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labate mara. So at this point, what happens is he takes up to now Shuddha Bhakti Yoga. That is, he only practices Angas of Bhakti. So now what we are doing is, to some degree, we are practicing the Angas of Bhakti. And most of the time, we are using our conditioned nature and dovetailing in Bhakti. So this is Mishra Bhakti in one sense. So in Mishra Bhakti also, we are trying to please directly Krishna. But still, we should remember that, it is not, Shuddha Bhakti. That is what the point I want to make. It is not Shuddha Bhakti, because there is, conditioned nature. You are doing karma. Now, why do you work? Because you have faith that, if I don't work, then, I'll not be able to maintain myself. But Ananya Bhakta, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Jana Pariupasate, Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam, Yogakshema Vaham. Krishna says, Krishna will arrange for my food. Why I should work? When Krishna is arranging for the food of all living beings, why should I just need a handful? So he's completely, he has that kind of faith. So that is a very, very, very exalted platform. And we have our conditioned nature, and our conditioned nature will impel us to do activities. It will impel because the modes are influencing us. We are still under the influence of the modes. So as long as the influence of the modes are there, then the conditioned nature, we are dovetailing in Krishna service. Okay, so that's what is happening. I hope all this makes sense, and is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, is it clear? And
Yes,
slowly, slowly, it will
Prabhuji.
become more
Yes, Prabhuji.
clear in the middle 6 chapters when we go to the middle 6 chapters.
Yes.
But because you brought out this question, because I could understand,
Prabhuji.
sometimes, in Nishkam Karma Yoga, the identity is based on the sabhava. We might identify ourselves as spirit soul, but we are not actually situated in that identity. In fact, we are trying to, act as servants,
Yes, Prabhuji.
No,
Yeah.
so we understand the philosophy theoretically, but that realization not be, and we are doing that, and we are doing certain activities in the day which are directly, direct sakshat bhakti, and most of the time it is our nature we are dovetailing in Krishna service. So that's how we should understand this. I
Yes,
hope this
Prabhuji.
is clear. Any other
Yes, Prabhuji.
clarifications or questions anyone else has? Okay, so we will stop here and continue tomorrow and start with the Sthita Pragya section, and maybe another 2-3 classes is required to complete this chapter, and then we'll start with the third chapter. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.